we're kind of taking a another trail. Let me see if I can get this turned right up with my computer right there, because we're going to be showing the computer in just a second. Sorry, I'm a hot mess express because I've got legal paperwork to do, and I've been working on that since, I don't know, 5, 6 o'clock in the morning, but it's getting done. It's getting done. And I know I had only dropped that, the killer crown. Man, that was crazy. I remember that case vaguely, just very, very, very vaguely. I was a teenager at the time, but it was still not a case that, you know, that caught my attention. You know, I was like, still, I think I was on Andy Griffith. Can you guys hear me okay? Because I'm trying out the new mic. Can you guys hear that? I'm trying out the new mic. So I wanted to see if it makes things sound a little bit clearer. I just wanted to test them out to see how they were doing. I got this. I can't remember who sent me these. I can't remember if it was from an audience member or my mom. I've got 2 pairs. And so one came from one and one came from the other. But what I like about this one is this one has the adapters for the Apple, for the Samsung, and for the camera all in one. So it's nice. It's versatile. I can use it on any of them. So I love it. So hopefully you guys, I'm sounding good for you. If I start breaking up, let me know and I'll pull it. It's nice to see you, Don, Melanie, Kendra, cries Marie. Nice to see you, the real me too. I hope you're doing well today. Stacy, good afternoon. Yes, it's officially afternoon. Don't forget, if you guys haven't, even if your phones, because my phones and all of my digital stuff automatically change if it's a daylight savings time or something like that. Let's stick this up. Oh, shoo. There we go. There we go. Now I can see you guys a little bit better. I'm trying to angle some of that light out of my, yeah, that didn't work really well. Hold on a second. Up, should I go up further? Maybe that a little bit better. There. Okay, there. So I'm trying to get the glare out of your eyes. Pat, it's nice to see you. Me and you, Pale Rider, Summy, Deanna, Donna, Denise. Miss Lee, Mom of 3. It's nice to see you. Maggie, Miss Tiffany, it's nice to see you. All hindsight, hugs and loves to you. Sonia, our beautiful Sonia is in the house. Busy Mama, Vicky, riding solo, Hen House. It's nice to see you this morning. Hey. Everybody else, it's nice to see you. So we're going to go over, it just doesn't help. Hold on a second. Let me see if I can just angle. No, still not. My glasses are driving me nuts. I need to get non-glare glasses. But we've been on, going through some of the stuff from Silver's on the Scene. I hadn't heard it, and I know people were telling me to look at it. So I started looking at it, and then I'm like, oh, well, we have this, and I got into whether it was a Nancy Grace interview that contradicted it or the green shirt interview. We did find that it was the green shirt interview. But there was several things that we learned about the area, how dark it could have been in the area. One's describing pitch black. However, there's multiple lights on, at least on one road alone. So that's going to provide radiant light and other things. And then we realized, the 6:30 time and 11 leaving, which identifies that it was right about 3 hours or less to get home, which shaves off about 37 minutes from what was said to Nancy Grace when it was stated that it was 3 hours and 37 minutes from doorstep to doorstep. And that's changed. So we have some, issues. And so another part is a 4-day weekend. Now we're realizing that the time of Monday, the time he left Monday, and what about that weekend? I was talking to my neighbor about this case. He's not really into true crime. He knows what I do, but he's not a true crime junkie. He's an older guy that likes to watch Westerns and listen to instrumental music in the car, and it has no vocals. And, he's my neighbor. It's Glenn, right? He takes care of the house. He's a neighborhood watch guy, you know. So he doesn't, watch this stuff. So we were just chit chatting about it, and it's like the whole work thing. We were out there. We found out by people boots on the ground that no crane operator would be at the job by 5:15. It's just unreasonable. Okay, it's unreasonable. It sounds like Silver's on the scene was able to corroborate the same information. When we were out there, we identified that there's no possibility of a camper staying on location. But I think that had already been identified in the Nancy Grace interview as well, because he was very reluctant to say where he was staying. But he acknowledged he was staying at an RV park prior to Sebastian disappearing. So I think that is enough information that we can deduct that an RV park he was staying at. Now, coming down to the 4 days, I think this is a shocker for many people, because as I was telling my neighbor, it seems awfully funny that Seth can tell every single person his whereabouts. He was here from this time to this time. He left, at this time. He found out about this at this time. That story's never really changed. Now, even with the mom, we have these things happened at we only have certain things. A lot of the details to the public are a little hazy, but for the most part, we know that they were at the Texas. Well, let's go back. We know that Sebastian and his mom had breakfast. We know that at some point in the day, they met up with family and were at BJ's. We know that they came back home. I mean, this is all allegedly, but this is, a timeline that was provided to us by his mother. So again, we have a timeline from Seth. We have a timeline from mom, whether we agree with it or don't agree with it, or think that there's inconsistencies with either or. It doesn't matter. The bottom line is we have a timeline from Seth and we have a timeline from mom. So now we come to the stepfather. That was allegedly 3.5 hours away, 3.5 hours and 3 hours and 37 minutes away from doorstep to doorstep, according to his own words on a public interview. Okay. So if that was the case, then why is his timeline so secretive? Okay, it seems like the way it's set up, it seems like he would be the most improbable to have any involvement. So it doesn't seem like that timeline should have ever been a secret. It's like, hey, you know what? I left on January 29th, and I went to my job, and Katie's come here a couple weekends when Sebastian was at his father's house. I haven't been home. As a matter of fact, that weekend I was working on a car. I had no idea there was anything wrong. Of course, Katie and I spoke, and then we had a 3-hour conversation on Sunday just to get, caught up with the weekend because I've been so busy. But, I wasn't, I know nothing. I found out that he was missing when my wife called me, no big deal. He was 3.5 hours away. The most improbable person that could have had anything to do with this, right? You'd automatically think either mom or dad, right? Either mom or dad, especially with stepdad being 3 hours and 37 minutes away, doorstep to doorstep. We're not looking, why is it so suspicious to ask somebody general questions? And why is the person that you're asking these general questions to getting so offended? And that's kind of the behavior we've seen in these interviews. We've seen it in the Web Sleuths interview where um, uh, internet PI, either way, how I feel about her is one, whatever, right? But we saw him treat her like garbage. We heard the threats that came out against Seth. So why so angry when anybody just pries? Well, law enforcement told me not to say. Well, wouldn't you think that they would tell the mom and the stepdad the same thing? And if they did, why did the mom and the stepdad tell the whole world their timeline? It's a little odd, in my opinion. It's just a little odd. One of the things that where we deductively reason that something's not right, okay? Because normal people don't say that. I've spoke to many people that I have never heard them, unless it was like early on in the case, you got, you're looking for a suspect, you're looking for an abductor, and you want to limit information so they don't have information. That's one thing, but that's not what we're dealing with, a month later, 2 months later, 3 months later, 4 months later. We're not dealing with that equation anymore. So it just seems very odd, to say the least, that everybody else has this timeline and has been kind of informed of this timeline, but it's a state secret for the one that would have the appearance to be the most likely possibility. And then you start saying, is there something we don't know? Well, this leads me to Silver's on the scenes. Sebastian Rogers, am I reading this correctly? Mr. Chris, he was at dinner Sunday night, question mark, question mark, question mark. And this was released 10 days ago, October 24th. So I'm going to go ahead and pull this up because I've already got it. You guys can go watch the whole entire interview yourself, or the whole entire video yourself. I would recommend it. I found it thoroughly entertaining, and I found it informative. But I'm just focusing on a very specific area of this. Okay, so if you want to watch the whole thing and hear everything, that's what you'll need to do. All right, there we go. Are we good? Can you guys see? You guys see okay? Okay, let's just move that. There we go. We'll move the computer to the phone. All right, let's see what we got going on here.
My friends, is a shocker. Now, we're all aware of the injunction placed upon a couple of creators, one from YouTube, one from TikTok. We all are aware of that. What you're seeing here has been out there. It's nothing new. Other than the email.
Give me just a second. Sorry, I've left something somewhere. So I'm going to play this, but I'm listening to it. I'm just stepping away. So if you hear me move, that's what I'm doing.
That was talking about Chris being at dinner. Mr. Chris being at dinner. And after 4 or 5 exchanges, how do you know this? Thank you to that person who emailed me. They sent me this. And here it is. In these affidavits that you saw, all those plaintiffs that are going against those creators, they each have their section. Listen to this, and you can read it here for yourself. On another, and I don't know why they've got Kate in here. Is her name Kate? I don't know. I've always known it as KT.
I have too. So maybe that's just what he was familiar with as her name, or maybe he just spoke her name short, in short. I don't know. Maybe that's what he called her when he spoke to her and she never corrected him. I don't know what the situation is.
But I'll just read it as it's read here. This is a legal document. On another call, I was present for. Chris Proudfoot declared, "You'll never find Sebastian." Now, we could spend a whole other time. There's a lot of people email me about that because I'm boots on the ground. I'm searching for this boy.
So the way I understand this, y'all, is we've heard this declaration come out of the stepfather's mouth in multiple interviews. I actually think it might even have been on Web Sleuths, or it might have been on Smiley's World. I can't recall. Does anybody know? Hey guys, for all the people that are coming in, if you have not yet hit the thumbs up button on your way in, why don't you go ahead and there should be either 3 dots at the top of your live stream right now or 3 dots at the bottom. Click on that and give me a thumbs up if you guys would not mind. I just saw that last night, this Sutherland, Oregon thing at Ford's Pond. Yes, Kimberly, yes. Let me write that down because we're going to be addressing that too. I did read that. It's actually on a public record request. There was somebody that thought they saw this person. We've heard it in the past, but it wasn't corroborated. And lo and behold, I think it's Crime Time Buzz did a records request. And sure enough, there was a report made of this. So maybe I wasn't prepared for it, but maybe we will do the Crime Time Buzz video for everybody that hasn't seen it. We'll grab a portion of it and everybody else that wants to see it should be going over there. If you guys haven't subbed up for Crime Time Buzz, please consider doing so. I've been watching some of the stuff coming off of her channel. It's decent. It's decent. I like it. I like it. So go over there, sub up, listen. We'll be going over one of the videos or a section of that video here shortly. But yeah. So I'm not sure why that name's being used. Let's just go back.
Now we could spend a whole other time. There's a lot of people email me about that because I'm boots on the ground. I'm searching for this boy. Our goal to bring him home. And people constantly bring this up to me. That he was saying it in YouTube videos before, but this is a call, I believe, in my opinion, was Dog the Bounty Hunter and the whole At Night group and Hong was present. Let me just read the whole thing we'll discuss. On another call was present for, Chris Proudfoot declared, "You'll never find Sebastian," and warned us to keep away from him, his family, and anyone connected to him. It was unnerving to hear such a statement, especially since Sebastian had gone missing after being last seen with Chris and Kate at dinner the night before.
That is pretty interesting because we've heard rumors of this. Now, I don't know if this makes it fact because, to be honest with you, I don't really have a whole lot of dealings I see what you guys see on social media and stuff like that, but I don't know what internal investigations have uncovered for the At Night group or Dog the Bounty Hunter. So I know we've heard these as rumor, but did they get more solid evidence about that? I truly don't know. This will be very interesting.
Instead of focusing on finding his stepson, Chris seemed more intent on shutting down any efforts to get closer to the truth. Now, we can create another video off that. We can talk about that all day long. The fact that you'll never find Sebastian, the fact that it's trying to shut down.
But my problem is with that statement is it's been said multiple times from the same person on several different interviews. It's almost cryptic at this point.
You have something coming to you that was revealed to me a little bit today that I need to get more information before I talk about it. But the reason I was focused on this is this right here. You see, am I reading this correctly? There's your picture, Roadhouse. Ladies and gentlemen, if he was at dinner with Katie and Sebastian, we all know from what we've been told that the Texas Roadhouse was the last dinner Sebastian had before he went missing. Are you telling me that Mr. Chris sat with Katie and Sebastian in a public restaurant, the Texas Roadhouse, in the city of Hendersonville, Tennessee, on Sunday the 25th, hours before he mysteriously disappeared, when he was not even supposed to be in town. Here's why I'm so shocked at this. This is all, I don't know if I should say alleged. I guess it's alleged in the statement that Hong's given. So I will protect Hong in that by saying it's an illegal document, but yet it's alleged what he's saying. What I'm saying is this, ladies and gentlemen, if we have to go all the way back to the day he disappeared, and for 8 months, coming up in 2 days, 8 months, we have believed not only that Mr. Chris wasn't in town, that there was no way he was at dinner with them. It's a public place. Hundreds of people in that place. I've been by that place a couple of times. I don't think I've ever been by on a Sunday night, but I tell you, on a Saturday night, Friday night, it's crowded. And I assume it is on, they're always crowded. Texas Road. I don't really care for them that much, nothing against them, but a lot of people love them, right? What I'm saying to you is this. We are spreading awareness for Sebastian throughout the country, right? As best we can. Social media posts, searching, talking about him, say his name, right? All these things that we're doing. Let's throw that up there now. Let's just take a moment and do that. Here it is. Posting this flyer. I just sent a few the other day to some people. Okay, say his name. Sebastian Rogers, keeping him out there. So if you live in Nevada, Las Vegas, maybe you don't know. We're trying to get you to know. But ladies and gentlemen, the people that were at this Roadhouse on the 25th, they live in the town. They are more aware of it than any of us. They live there. That is the one city in the country that should know the most about this kid. Are you telling me that he sat there and had dinner and no one has come forward to say, hey, why is everybody saying Mr. Chris wasn't in town? I saw him at dinner with them. I saw him at dinner with them, trying to enunciate the dinner with them. So I'm going to leave you with this. I wanted to highlight this. I wanted to bring it forth. I'm asking that question. Am I reading it correctly? I believe I am. The dinner, the night he went missing. So it's not the dinner before, which would still raise a question. Thought he wasn't in town the whole weekend. But was he at dinner? What did he do after? Did he leave and he went to Memphis then? I don't know. Why was he not on security walking them out to their car? He parked in another spot. I don't know. We've never seen that security footage. Is this the reason we haven't? In my opinion, maybe we haven't because there's more to it than we think.
Actually, that's a great point because I remember Seth said that, just move this back here. Hey guys. I remember Seth said the proof of life video was them walking out of the Texas Roadhouse. And I remember thinking at that time, that's funny. Why was it so important to show him walking out and not sitting there and enjoying his meal? I just thought it was a little. To me, I wondered if there was something more on the interior video, personally speaking. So, I don't know.
But I can't not wrap my head around the fact that this guy could have been sitting at that dinner table, be it for 5 minutes for dessert or for the entire meal. But doesn't say that. It was unnerving to hear such a statement, especially since Sebastian had gone missing after being last seen with Chris and Kate at dinner the night before. And they say the night before because he's reported missing the next morning. The night before is that Sunday night at Texas Roadhouse. So I can't wait to see your comments, your thoughts, your emails, because this, I'll sum it up with this. If he was at dinner, then we have to rethink everything we've been told. And I guess this is the biggest thing I lay on. What's the big deal? So you were at dinner. If you've had nothing to do with your stepson going missing, if the mom, Katie, has nothing to do with the stepson going missing, then where does it matter? What does it matter where you were? Because you have no involvement. Okay? That is the most common sense piece of logic you can say about this entire disappearance of this boy. Let's say his name. Let's get it out there. Let's take a moment. Say his name, Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers. 2 days, 8 months ago. And I can't understand, in my opinion, why people aren't telling where they were or where they weren't or what they were doing if they had no involvement in the disappearance. If this beautiful boy walked out of his home, as we've been told since day one, actually day 8 when they came out, but since we've been told, then why hide anything? And that's something we have to all ask ourselves. So what do you know about this? Is Hong's statements correct? Was he at that dinner? Was he in town? Now, with all that said, let's not forget this. It's all about finding Sebastian. The theme of all these videos, whether I'm boots on the ground searching, which I will be in 2 days, new location, or whether we're doing videos such as this to bring more awareness and to ask questions. That's what we're doing, asking questions. It's all about where he is. But if we're being kept or things are being hidden from us, then you have to ask why. Okay? If you have nothing to hide, there's no reason to hide anything. Okay? So say his name, Sebastian Rogers. Look here, $125,000 reward. If you're watching this for the first time,
$125,000 reward. So, what did you guys think about that report from Silver's on the Scene? What does that mean to you? Because if you guys remember, I don't know how many of you guys were with me from, like from the beginning. And I do have a playlist for Sebastian and Sebastian's case. Please go back and follow me from the beginning of this case. The beginning of this case, we were getting in, we were kind of wanting to be a little careful, not step on too many toes, just get a good understanding of what was going on. And then we started seeing our red flags, and so you want to give grace, when you see those red flags, because you don't know the behaviors, the personalities of the subjects. So people grieve differently, people act differently. So you need to kind of gauge that before you start making assumptions, because a lot of this is assumption based. You take the factual information and what does that mean to you? It could mean something different from person to person. But typically, we apply logic and common sense to what it means and start developing our theories from there. At the beginning, my theories were much different than they are today. And now with all this new information, some of those are going back to the very first theories I had, because part of our internal investigation for our reporting purposes, we identified that the stepfather was very disgruntled with this child by a multitude of things. The statements of the neighbors, the conversation with the bio dad of who reached out to him to tell him to take Sebastian permanently. There was citing marital issues, citing fear of what his son is going to do. I'm thinking of SA type of things to his stepsister. It seemed like there was a heightened concern. One of the things we learned was on Smiley's World when we learned about a belt incident. While on its face, people are a little offended that a belt was used, and I understand that. I'm not opposed to corporal punishment in certain cases, for child rearing purposes. But I also believe that it's done in certain age groups of the child's life. in my opinion, Sebastian, with his medical conditions as well as his age, wouldn't be really, in my opinion, someone that should be whipped with a belt. Just my opinion. Some people may be different. I know we have some people that just believe the mere rearing of a child is abuse. I'm not on that path. That's not my opinion. I do understand people's opinions about that, but I just wanted to be clear that I'm not. So I don't believe, rearing a child's abuse. I believe abuse is abuse. This, because of his condition, because of him being autistic, it to me felt more abusive. But I still didn't want to judge at that point while everybody else was. The problem I had was that, as well as throwing all of his stuff in the garbage. I thought, and these are statements coming out of the parents' mouths. And I thought it was a little barbaric because, autistic children are the way that they are. You can't, spank autism out of a child. I saw this shirt that said something like, I can't discipline my child out of autism, just like I can't smack the stupidity out of your head or something like that. I can't remember what was on the back of the shirt, but it was so fitting to what Lisa B. Lisa's in the chat now, sent me in there. Oh, hey, Mr. and Mrs. Car Guy. Nice to see you. Nice to see you, Lorraine, Brenda, Gigi for life, me and you. It's nice to see you, Karma's Moon, Angelina. Thank you guys. Thank you guys for being here. But it was so fitting because, and I just saw that in like the last week as well, which was pretty neat. I wonder if I reposted it. I might have reposted it on my main Bullhorn Betty Facebook account. I saw it on Facebook. I remember seeing it and I got a little chuckle out of it. But I feel that's that way. But there was several things that really kind of made us feel like the stepfather really had disdain for his stepchild. I don't know when that created, if it was created when he started hitting puberty. And, we learn from a lot of people that have autistic children that puberty rather is a very, very tough time on the parents, and even more of a tough time on the autistic child. So it's been really hard, and it could be really hard. And that might be where the problems are, is nobody was kind of prepared or knows how to handle him hitting puberty and dealing with all the things that come with it. I truly don't know. But my original theory was geared more in line with the stepfather, because I believed, as much as they were trying to adamantly state for the whole world, like there's several things that they absolutely had to have the world believe. And the reason why I say that is because of how many times they said it. And two of those examples are him not being at the home. I mean, that was drilled into everybody's head, and it was pushed by two primary people. And the other one is that the mom went to bed at midnight and was asleep at midnight. Those are the two examples that I feel they kept pushing and pushing and pushing. And no matter what interview that they were in, those were absolutely must-have statements that they had to push. And when I kept hearing, oh, he wasn't here, it was just me, it was just me, it seemed like distancing language. Like for me, when you're looking at this from a psychological perspective, it sounded like these were things they were trying to distance themselves from, the stepfather even being home at all that weekend. And the fact that nothing could have happened after midnight, or he had to have left from midnight to 6 a.m. because that was the only time she went to sleep, and she was asleep by midnight. So anytime midnight and after, it had to have happened. So those were just some key statements that I picked up on. I know we've watched a lot of Peter Hyatt. We've watched a lot of Pat Brown, and it kind of gives us this insight into this. And I really, truly believe that because they pushed so hard to prove that the stepfather wasn't there, that it's possible that the stepfather had been there. We've heard rumors from the onset about the Texas Roadhouse. The closest I could get to confirming that the stepfather was at the Texas Roadhouse was back in, I believe, April. And that's when the someone's friend actually worked in the Texas Roadhouse and was the server of them 2 weeks prior to the date of his disappearance. And 2 weeks prior to the disappearance, even though we were told that the stepfather never came home all of February, according to this hearsay, I want to make sure you guys know it didn't come directly. I didn't speak directly to the server. It was a friend of the server that told me. So you got to take it with a grain of salt. Do your own research. I can only tell you what was provided to me. Was that 2 weeks prior to that, she was the server of that table, and that Sebastian had a meltdown because he wanted something on the menu that wasn't on the menu, and Chris got highly upset and got up and left. That's what was told to me. You know, if that story was wrong, maybe that's the story they're talking about that happened that night, and maybe that's the reason why only 2 people walked out, because somebody got highly upset at a situation that went on there and left because of the situation. So I'm unsure. You know, I can only tell you I'm actually adding the whole, you know, maybe it could be the one that Hong's referring to. I don't know. The information that I found out, and again, I still have to take it as rumor because I've never corroborated it. I didn't physically speak to a firsthand person that provided me that information. I spoke to that person's friend. So I just want a free Diddy. I don't know if I want him free. He seems like a really bad dude that's done really bad things. And I like bad guys being behind bars, no matter where they come from or how much money they have. He says, keep Diddy. I just looked up and it's like free Diddy. I'm like, oh, let's rewind that a little bit. Oh, sweet misery. It's nice to see you. I can't wait to take a picture with your sweater on. It's just starting to get cool enough where I can wear it. So that's going to be nice. I appreciate it. I appreciate it. So I don't know. Everybody's going to have to make the decision for themselves on what they believe. You know, I'm probably going to have to start doing the same thing that freaking, what's his name? Because I got disclaimers all through my description. You know, this is opinion based and blah, 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 blah. But, you know, I have to say it on every single show because we got people that watch me every day but act like they don't and don't realize this is the Bullhorn Betty channel, and we do go by fact, but we also speculate and provide our own theories and opinions. You know, at the end of the day, we've done a lot of these cases, and we've seen a lot, and we've got a lot of experience. And when we start seeing these things, you know, it's not just this channel. It's many, many, many channels questioning, you know, this morning, noon, and night, questioning what in the world happened to Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers. We're fighting for his face to be, you know, spread around. We know that the more that we talk about him, the more people and more exposure that will come forward. And hopefully a lead that will break this case wide open will you know, eventually come in. There's a $125,000 reward. I don't know anybody in this economy that cannot use $125,000. I know I certainly could use $125,000. I know that even you know, the rich of the rich could always use $125,000. I mean, from the poor of the poor to the rich of the rich, $125,000 is $125,000. So if you have information, if you overheard a conversation, please reach out to 833-TELL-DOG or reach out to the FBI Memphis office or just pick up the phone and call 911. This child's life matters. I have my opinions, but until he's found, he could be anywhere. So be on the lookout for him. If you see somebody that is familiar to him, have it checked out. I received some upsetting information from somebody I don't really like or respect. But it was shared with me by one of our channel subscribers. Oh, thank you, Moonlight. 4 months. God bless you. God bless you. Yeah, I'm a hot mess express today, but I'm perfectly fine with that. I got a lot of paperwork to do, and I'm going to do it in comfort. But I heard that one of the yahoos that always retracts and makes statements and retracts and has told the whole world that it was the state police that needed to use him for drone to help with sex traffickers and all this other hogwash that ended up not being true. Well, apparently now, because they've lied in the past, I have to question everything that comes out of their mouth. So I don't know how true this is. You guys have to do your own research on this as well. But I heard that they were searching and came across some items and called the Sumner County Sheriff's Office to come out and preview the evidence and properly collect the evidence because they believed it was associated with the Sebastian Rogers case. Now, again, I don't like this guy. I take anything he says with a grain of salt because he's been caught in so many lies by me personally and by a lot of people on the internet, because usually I catch these lies because you catch these lies and send them to me. Right? I get a lot of emails every day from a whole different, just everything. You guys are very detail oriented. Hey, sunset gazing. You guys are detailed oriented. And so you guys, if you're like, whoa, that doesn't sound right. You guys send it to me, right? So I look into it. So we all know that he hasn't been truthful or forthcoming for quite some time. So I don't know how to take this new information as true or not, because it's hard to trust somebody that you've caught multiple times in lies. But if true, it shows you exactly why Seth Rogers only wants leads going to Dog or the Memphis FBI. It's because, as he stated, I think he's been stating this since April, 2 months after his son disappeared, that there's evidence that the sheriff's office is failing to come out and collect that we found. They're determining whether it's evidence or not evidence before they even see what it is. That is just, it's frustrating, because I always look at it as what if it was my family member? You know what I'm saying? What if it was somebody I cared about or I loved? And people are searching and finding potential evidence, and it's not even worth an officer coming out to look at it. Not even worth them saying, send me a photo of it. It's not in, yes, Lisa. It's not, it's very heartbreaking that even when you have teams out there, they don't want to participate at all. You know what I'm saying? They have completely blocked it off. They don't really care what's found. They have already made up their mind. This child is nowhere to be found. They're no closer to finding out where this child is. All they're at right now is don't criticize them or go to jail. Don't point the finger or go to jail. That's where they're at right now. So I don't know whether it's true or not. I'm not going to sit on here. All I can sit there and tell you is all the information I have. And the bottom line is this guy has been known to lie in the past. Is he lying about this? I don't know. I hope he's not. But if he's not lying about this, what is he planning on doing about it? Did he collect the evidence? Did he turn it over to Dog, Nick, or Seth? Like, did he send out the coordinates so somebody could collect the stuff? I mean, did he photograph it, measure it, find a landmark and measure from point to point before he touched it or anything like that? Did he touch it? Is he potentially moving or contaminating evidence here? There's certain processes that must be followed. So I'm interested in finding out what that was that he found, and what did he do to collect the evidence, and how did he collect the evidence if he did? And if he did not collect the evidence, did he reach out to somebody that was more equipped to collect the evidence, such as somebody from Dog the Bounty Hunter's team or Seth's team? That's what I'd like to know. To me, Sebastian, being autistic, is very vulnerable and can be taken advantage of easily, in my opinion. I agree with that. But he was also sheltered and didn't really warm up to strangers. So I feel like if he met with foul play, it would have been very loud. Like, I feel like he would have had a complete meltdown and freaked out. Just like him walking out of the house without anything other than a pair of pants and a shirt on in a night that was 40 degrees. Like, it was just like 62 degrees out here the other night, and I'm freezing my tail end off. I couldn't even imagine it being 40 degrees. It had to have felt pretty darn cold. It wasn't freezing, but it was darn near freezing, 8 degrees from freezing. That's pretty stinking cold. That's pretty stinking cold. Thank you, Sonia. Thank you, guys. Don't forget that we're still campaigning for the Stand with Betty. This is to help raise legal funds for my appellate attorney as well as my criminal defense attorney. And we're just trying to get that stuff together. I appreciate everybody that has contributed some way, somehow, even as much as, they don't have 2 nickels to rub together, but they're watching videos to help bring up some of the ad revenue on these channels. God bless you all for doing that. You guys are amazing. So I just wanted to just sit here and chat a little bit, because I finally am getting caught up on Silver's on the Scene, which I very rarely have time to do. But so many of you guys have reached out to me and told me he was really bringing some good information, and I figured I would check it out. And, you would think that even though I'm a plaintiff in a federal action, I have not seen all the affidavits. It took me a while before I realized the affidavits were on the At Night website. And, I did download them, but I haven't even had time to review them. I know what's in my affidavit, and I know what's in some of the other affidavits that I heard read online, like from Mr. and Mrs. E, when I was able, but I just don't, I can hang out for like a half hour to an hour, but then, I've got a lot of work. I work around the clock. Many people don't realize how much I work. I get up very, very early in the morning. And like last night, I crashed out at 10 o'clock at night, actually past 10:30, was almost 11 o'clock at night. So I work quite a bit, researching and everything like that. We have some updates that I want to give you before we close out this afternoon's segment. And one of them is the Bryan Kohberger. So you guys know we're getting kind of geared up for the trial. And now the defense is really working overtime to really kind of, what's the word? Bury the prosecution in paperwork, so to speak. This is when they're throwing everything out, trying to do anything to slow this down, trying to do anything to have hearings on this, and this, and they're really, really, really working hard and around the clock to make this very uncomfortable and to really stretch this out and just to cause a lot of it. It does work, and they do have reasons for doing it. So what we're learning is that they're trying to get the death penalty off the table. They're using some type of word salad, saying that they were talking about manslaughter instead of murder and all this other stuff. Maybe we'll go through the court documents. It's been a while since we got up to date on the court documents, but I think it's going to do our channel good. We know that the nuts and bolts of what happened. We did 2 tours out there, boots on the ground, to identify what was going on. We were one of the first media out there to cover the possibility of it being Washington State University or Washington State University student. We've been, we were kind of leading the charge on, it's not their friends, so to speak. Olivia and I were very, very careful in this case because we were dealing with such young kids, and we just saw things differently than everybody else, because everybody was attacking these kids, thinking every one of these kids are murderers, which was insane. But there's been a lot that's happened since the probable cause affidavit has taken place. And there's been some private closed session testimony provided in this case. They've really, really kind of sheltered the public from a lot of information of this case. They didn't want the public in it. Then things started changing, and then all of a sudden the defense wants to now bring the public in so they can kind of plead their case to the public, which was shut down because they worked so hard to shut the prosecution down, or people speaking against them. They even drafted a freaking motion about focusing on his crotch. You can't make this up. I'm actually about to find it. So if you guys don't know what I'm talking about, this is probably the funniest. This is not a funny case whatsoever. It just is not funny. But it was absolutely, this one aspect was absolutely funny. And not only that, we did have a Crotchgate meme that we did where somebody won something. I can't even remember what they won. We still have a $25 gift card or gift certificate but I can't run that thing. So we're going to have to find another thing. Jen sponsored it. And we still need to do a giveaway on that. I forgot all about that until just now, but we still need to do a giveaway on that. So here, without further ado, if you guys haven't watched this, if you weren't with me back in these days, it is funny. It is funny. Let me get this switched around here. There we go. Let's get you lined up just right. Move the computer. In this case, I'm very emotional when it comes to the Bryan Kohberger case. Very emotional. We were out there. We had an opportunity to really get to know the victims of this by the work that we did. And so this case I really, really, really take seriously. But there are just some things that I'm just like, you've got to be joking me. Like, you have got to be stinking joking. Are you joking me right now? So Bryan Kohberger's claims media are focusing on his crotch. I can promise you, they're probably taking the cameras off your face because you've been complaining about it being in your face. And there's only so many things that they can focus on. Just saying. I doubt your crotch is newsworthy at all. So Nancy Taylor, Jay Logsdon, Bryan Kohberger, really? You got nothing we want to see, babe. I can assure you that. That's probably why you're in the position you're in, Mr. Kohberger. Like, none of us, and I mean none of us, want to see that. But for the love of everything that is holy out there in the world, where would you like them to focus the camera? I mean, how picky are we going to be about this? So it's focusing primarily on his face. Now it's not that. Now I guess all these thumbnails out there on the streets of YouTube and abroad must be, having these crotch shots. The people here on social media, we don't care about his crotch. Maybe I need to become a content creator and quit my day job.
Bryan Kohberger recently argued that cameras in court are focusing too much on their client's crotch and should be removed from future hearings, including a claim that some cameras have been targeting his fly. Mr. Kohberger is entitled to defend himself against capital criminal charges without cameras focused on his fly.
How can you keep a straight face?
Social media post that appears at page 3 of his motion. No photographs or camera coverage focused on Mr. Kohberger's fly
This is the funniest shit I have ever heard in a case in my life. OMG. I'm wondering if I should intervene in the court hearing. But should we be intervening so we can focus on his crotch? Now, no matter what. Every time he walks in, our eyes are going to go directly to his crotch. He's going to walk in, watch. I guarantee it. We're going to be on crotch watch now. Crotch gate? Should we call it crotch gate? Crotch gate 2023? We have to give props to mainstream media because I really don't know how they keep a straight face. We're going to be on crotch watch now. I don't know how many of you guys saw that, but you guys haven't been with me that long. I don't know if you guys knew that Bullhorn Betty is a little funny every now and again. Okay, it was a little funny. Now I don't have the beautiful blonde hair. I'm actually growing it out. I'm ready to go gray for a little while. I'm sure I'll change it after. I'm just tired of the blonde. I've never been blonde this long, but people when I first came on here wanted to dog me about my blonde hair, so I kept it. Right, I kept it just to mess with them. And now it's like, I'm ready for a change. Usually I'm like, a rainbow. I have a whole bunch of different colors. I'm either a brunette or a, dark head or, frost, the highlights and crap like that. I had highlights, red and black in my hair for years. All three. It was one of the best. I actually liked that color blend. It was really nice. It had a lot of different, it looked nice out in the sun. And then I went blonde, and I never turned back from blonde because it was kind of my signature. Everybody knew Bullhorn Betty from being so blonde. And so now I'm just ready for my grays. I'm ready to be old. I'm ready to move on. I don't like to maintain myself like I once did. I'm not letting myself go by any stretch of the imagination. I'm just going to be enjoying this chapter. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. Okay, so that's kind of where I am this day and age. I did cut my hair. We got a lot more color back in it. It's almost like we almost got this out. Now this is going to take a little bit longer, but even this is, it's not too bad. We're already starting to get the dark in down here. So I'm thinking about another 6 months. We'll only have this little bit left on the bottom, and all the blonde, the rest of the blonde on the top will be gone. So we went through the helmet phase. Okay. We went through the helmet phase with Grace. I knew it was going to be rough. Like I think every time I left the house, my hair was either in a bun or in a baseball cap. I hated that phase of growing this stuff out, but it's a little bit longer now. So I'm now that I've gotten this far, I'm just going to keep going until it's gone, and then I'm going to take like 6 months just to really, really get my hair healthy, because like I was telling my neighbor, even though my hair is really healthy and I've been cutting it regularly, this blonde is still breaking quite a bit. It's still really dry. And, this has all been done by a beauty shop. I know people are going to be like, she was doing it. Yes, I was doing my hair myself, and my hair was fine when I was doing it myself. Then I go to a beauty shop and, it just, I don't know what they use, but I didn't really like it. It made my scalp burn a lot. I didn't like the chemical, the processing that went into this last one. So I just decided just to let it grow out, let it get healthy, and then we'll figure out what to do from there, if anything. I may like it. I may think, because the way it looks, it almost looks like natural highlights in my hair as it's growing out. I got like a patch of white right here, and I've got a couple patches of white back here. As they're growing out, they're getting white. So, pretty soon I'll be a Betty White. That's one thing I loved about Betty White. She's like, I dyed my hair blonde, and then my hair just turned white. And she's like, I didn't really have to do anything anymore. I want to get there. I want to get there, So natural hair is not letting yourself go. Your hair has a softer look. Keep it natural. Thank you, Debbie. Thank you. So yeah, but I don't know. I used to doll myself up to sit here for an hour on the show, and it's like then I had to wash my face, or I'd forget to wash my face, and then I don't know. When I go out, when I have an interview, I'll do myself. When I got to go out, I'll do myself. But it's okay being you, right? It's okay being you, just like it's okay being me. Let my hair go gray, and one of my customers came in a year later and asked what happened. to the blonde girl, I told her it was me, and she says, "Oh." Karma's mom says I've earned every one of my grays. That's funny. That's funny. So I wanted to go over that whole Bryan Kohberger thing. I think it's funny, but they're trying to get the death penalty off the table. They're saying it's cruel and unusual punishment. And it's like, lady, they just reenacted their freaking firing squad if the lethal injection doesn't work. I don't think they're really sympathetic to your argument. I'm just saying. I don't think Idaho's going to be sympathetic to Jay Logsdon or N.C. Taylor's arguments when it comes to cruel and unusual punishment, especially when a knife was used to slaughter 4 innocent children, because that's what we old folks look at them as, right? Children. They're 20-something, but they're children to us. So we're looking at them being slaughtered. You know what? I like me, you guys know I'm barbaric. You guys know I'm barbaric. I say, you know, break the machine. Funny, I'm sorry, not sorry, but break the damn, you know, machine. Send them out to the firing squad. That's where I'm at, you know. But I also had to look parents in their eyes that had to see their child and what this animal did to 2 of them. The interview with Steve and Christy Gonzalez, as well as her sister Olivia, was the first time I've ever, you know, I always try to keep my composure. You know, if things bother me, I wait until the interview's over. But this is one that they were talking and tears were just streaming down my face, and I didn't want them to see it. Olivia saw it, my Olivia. And I just excused myself, acted like I was, you know, having to put stuff away in the car so I could clean myself up, because, you know, they were talking about it, and this is very painful for them. You know, they don't need, you know, I just felt I didn't want to, you know, stir up any emotion in them and stuff, more emotion than they already had, you know. So it was rough. I think I want this man took such beautiful souls. And not only that, like, these kids weren't like the snobby, entitled kids. It sounded like they really cared, that they were, you know, some of the nicest students there. Yes, they had popularity, but they had popularity because they were so genuine. And I really just, it's hard. You know, I had a little sister, just a few years older than these girls. And as a matter of fact, Ethan, because they're all around the same age. But it was very hard to think that, because my sister went away to college and she was living on campus, and these kids were living literally on the outskirts of campus, like just on the other side of the road of it being campus. That's how close they were. And it was just, it kind of hit a little too close to home, you know. And he ruined not just their lives, but all the people that they had touched, their parents, their siblings, their nieces and nephews. He's caused so much damage. For what? To feed something in him? Thrill kill? There's no justification that can ever be spoken to justify what these kids, these horrific actions that happened to these kids. They were stabbed to death brutally as they slept. And they want to save his life? You've got to be freaking joking me. You've got to be freaking joking me. Now, you know, I like I said, I like that he has a pit bull for a defense attorney. It limits the amount of appeals. But I don't think this is going to fly. I don't think they even have, I don't think they have a chance in hell of getting the death penalty off the table. I think this man deserves death. It sounds like a lot of people in Idaho believe if this man is convicted, deserve death. I can tell you most likely, or at least the majority of the parents probably want to seek want him to seek the death penalty. I don't think at this point it's a revenge thing for them. I think it's a justice thing for them. I think it's justice for their child. And we'll see how that argument goes, but it looks like they're challenging the death penalty in this case. So that's something we're going to want to, be look at and look for and see what's going on. So I believe there's going to be a lot of pretrial hearings coming up as we slide into the ultimate trial of Bryan Kohberger. I know the Gonzalez's already. And the only reason why I can say them is because they're the only ones that I monitor what's going on with them. There's not, I don't know what's going on in Xana's family's life or Ethan's life. I feel like the Gonzalez are an extension of the Mogan family because they were like one big family. They both of those kids were theirs. And I feel like it was, instead of them being like best friends, they were more like sisters. And, I feel like the families kind of gelled together and they leaned on one another, through this time. I believe that their children weren't just friends, but they were all friends, family is what I like to call them, friends that are family. So I have to believe if that's the way the Gonzalez believe, that's the way that the Mogan family, I know her mom's changed her last name. I just can't remember what it is. So I apologize, not to be disrespectful or anything of that nature. But anyways, maybe we'll do an update on that. A lot of people didn't realize we went out there, but yes, we did go out there. We were one of the first organizations that identified Washington State University. We didn't know, we just were just saying, is it a possibility? And it's like, yeah, it's a possibility. So if you guys want to get caught up on that, I believe I have a playlist for the Idaho 4. I'm sure not everything that I've posted is in the Idaho 4 or in there, but you can do a key search on my channel for Idaho 4 and or Bryan Kohberger. You should be able to find a multitude of videos that I've done. That was one of the cases that we dived into. So it would have been on a daily basis that we were producing content for that and talking about the case and stuff like that. And if you'd like to see, the house is no longer there. We were out there. We did our 2 trips while the house was still erected. Olivia was the only one that could go out there to watch the demolition. It was very heartbreaking. I truly believe that was a fatal mistake and that should have never been done. But I also know that it was costing the university an arm and a leg to have that building protected to make sure nobody went in it, because it was a murder house. Okay. It means it was, they took samples of where they needed to take it. So they ripped up carpets, had holes in the drywall. They had a lot of stuff missing from that home. And so I understand, but if other students, like for, to get into like fraternities and sororities and stuff, they do stupid stuff like make you do, whatever. If somebody broke in there and saw that and saw the condition of the house, nobody should have to see that. I know that there are people that are a little morbid, and morbid curiosity always, gets you here and there. But I understand that they didn't want the students being curious, and it was starting to become an issue. I have to think in part maybe a safety issue, and they just didn't want to pay to have it secured anymore. It was cheaper to knock it down and do something else with that property because it was bringing in so many people. And so they just destroyed the house. I really believe that the jurors had a right to tour it if they wanted to, and they're not giving the jurors the opportunity. And I think that is just wrong, because if anything goes wrong in that court hearing and they need to see the inside of that house, they just shot themselves in the foot. Now they're setting it up, saying they'll never have to see it. They've got it, 3D'd and all this and all that. But I can tell you, me personally, from watching stuff online for years to physically going out there to the scene is a totally different vibe. You get context you can't get on video. Being there in person is always better than watching something online. I'm sorry, it just is. I know from personal experience and covering true crime cases. So All right, guys, you guys have a great day. Rock it out with your coffee beans out. If you see something, say something. An ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. And until next time, please be safe, but more importantly, kind to one another. And if you're not such a kind person and you're watching from the bushes and you hate Bullhorn Betty, I just want to say today's a great day to get right, to be kinder, we got holidays coming up, Thanksgiving coming up, Christmas coming up. We have a lot to be thankful for in such a crazy and chaotic world. So maybe show a little grace. God bless.